Before I ask you the last question about the future of community banking, I want to just touch on some of the legislative proposals that are being considered. There's a big groundswell of discussion about asset thresholds, potentially changing when and how certain regulatory requirements will apply to community banks and other banks of other sizes, including regional banks. How's Treasury thinking about those proposals, and what principles should guide those thresholds as legislators and as regulators are thinking about those going forward?
Well, I think we should think about it in two ways. One, we always think about it inflation adjustments, whether it's for Social Security, sometimes for capital gains. There's probably a big catch-up to do in terms of asset thresholds. Just the economy's grown, the asset size has grown for bank lending, and like I said, we want to bring it back into the regulated system. So I think that it will be natural to raise many of these thresholds. But then I think you also have to look at what's your book of business, that how risky, in terms of how have you grown your balance sheet. Does it look like something like Silicon Valley Bank, that with a lot of deposit beta? So yeah, I think it's those two, but I definitely believe that we do need a substantial increase in terms of the regulatory levels, and maybe even an increase from the $10 billion. When does the Fed get involved?
I think those are really great topics of conversation. And I think more and more I'm having discussions, as I'm sure you are too, with regional banks who are being frozen at a certain asset level size so that they're not crossing that $100 billion threshold, or a community banker that's being frozen just below $10 billion in assets, simply because so many different thresholds of many kinds and different regulations and statutes bite.
Or one of the banks we had come in, and you would think that if a long-standing big customer came in and put a big deposit in at the end of the year, you'd be excited, but they would, no, we can't take it because it's going to push us over 500 million, right, and then the trigger there. So we want to make sure that you're able to grow without setting off these regulatory tripwires.
Well, I look forward to